Hey, it's Dave Mercer and welcome back to Munch Factor. What would you say if I said that all of us are surrounded by fish at one point and we leave it? It doesn't matter what you're fishing for. Bass, pikes, muskie, trout, bluegill, or carp. Doesn't matter whether you're fishing from a canoe, a kayak, shore, or a fully rigged Phoenix bass boat. 90% of us drive away from these fish. And on this week's Munch Factor, we're gonna show them to you. All right, I get it. You're thinking he did the big YouTube tease and told us we're gonna give you a spot that 90% of us aren't keying in on, and it's gonna be rocket science, right? Well, nothing I do is rocket science. You know that unless you're first time on the channel. If it is, please subscribe. But all it is boat ramps. I mean, most of us start our day there and we drive away from them. But when you look at what a boat ramp is, whether it be a concrete ramp or a metal ramp that I swam around in this video, I mean, it literally is structure. It's the things I tell you to look for when you're out on the water. If you marked a boat ramp on your side imaging unit, you would definitely fish it. And metal ones, like the one I'm swimming around in this video, I mean, they come equipped with their own undercut bank. I mean, everybody loves undercut banks when they're fishing for largemouth. Well, there's a ton of fish that live in the undercut of a metal ramp. And it's not just bass or predator fish. I mean, you have panfish, you have perch, you have gobies, you have crayfish, you have everything. I mean, a lot of ramps are covered in zebra mussels. I mean, basically everything that attracts a fish or a fish would want to eat is in that area. And I learned a long time ago, I mean, if you have forage, you have fish. The fish are gonna stick around. And there's other reasons on top of that. I mean, it's an absolute total ecosystem when you think about it. I mean, it's not just the predator fish. I mean, there's coarse fish in the area. And why? Well, think about it. People go fishing, they, catch themselves a fish they want to keep and they fillet it right down by the boat ramp. Well, they take the remains and the guts and everything and fling that into the lake. And what does that bring in? That brings in all sorts of catfish, all sorts of carp, coarse fish that continues that ecosystem funneling along. And then, as if that wasn't enough, several times a year, most boat ramps get stocked. And you're wondering, what does he mean stocked? Well, think about it. Majority of boat ramps, and it's not every one, I get it, and that's kind of the rule with all fishing things. I mean, it doesn't always work. It's not an exact science, but 90% of the boat ramps in the country have tournaments, and most tournaments aren't the Bassmaster Elite Series with a fleet of live release boats that takes those fish out into the lake in different locations. I mean, a lot of them just let those fish go right at the ramp. And a huge percentage of those fish stick around. They stay right there at the ramp. They got forage, they got cover, structure. What else do they need? The kicker is, I mean, a lot of people, the reason they won't fish a ramp, like when you really think about it at the end of the day, is it's too busy. I mean, it's real busy, and especially this year. It's been insanely busy. But sometimes that busyness is what charges up those fish. All that movement in the water. They get used to it and they get going. I mean, they're not gonna be busting on stuff while there's 40 boats around, but as those boats start to dissipate, and as that water starts to settle a little bit, those fish start to munch, and if you're there, if you're not on the other side of the lake, if you're there, you may just capitalize on a couple of boat ramp bass. That's all I got. Sorry. Let me try that again. Boom!